So we were just doing a practice problem. We want to find the 6 trig ratios if the terminal side of our angle passes through this point. So -2 root 5, we approximated would be about there. And then, so we know that this is a right triangle, we had to solve for the radius. So we just did a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and it turned out to be 3. So root 5 squared was 5, plus -2 squared is 4, equals, I should be using r, not c, but okay. So I got 9 equals r squared, which means r must have been 3. So now I can use my reference sheet and you'll see right on the reference sheet right here in this first little box, it gives you all of your, there's your 6 trig functions, and then you just pop in the 2 that you have on each one. But be careful because you can't leave a square root in the denominator. So sine is y over r, so root 5 over 3. Cosine is going to be x over r, -2/3. Tangent, y over x, so root 5 over -2. Oh, whoops. Now that I have those 3, I can find the next 3 by just taking the reciprocal. So, who's the reciprocal of sine? Cosecant. Right, because right. So cosecant is the reciprocal of this, which would be 3 over root 5, but you can't leave it like that, so how do I fix it? Right, root 5 over root 5, so I get 3 root 5 over 5. Excuse me. Secant, flip that one over, that should be easy enough, -3/2. And cotangent, flip that one over, -2 over root 5, and then we just fix it. And we're done. Oh. All right. Then you're going to have one where I give you a line. Oh, I gotta get rid of this cough someday. So just like on your homework last night, I'm gonna give you a line that coincides with the terminal side of the angle. So I'm just gonna make this line up. Let's say it's 4x minus 3y equals 0. And let's have x be greater than or equal to 0. Did we do that exact one? We did one similar, I think. All right, so again, I'm looking for the 6 trig functions. I have a line. I'm going to sketch it out. Remember that it's going to pass through the origin. So what I can do is just figure out the slope, and then I can go from there. So the slope of this thing would be what? What's the slope of that line? 4/3 is correct. -a over b. So that would be -4 over -3, which is just 4/3. So that means from the origin, I'm going to go up 4 to the right 3. Right. Oh, yeah. So remember, it's a line, so it could have continued this way, but since I want x is greater than 0, right, I don't want this side. But that's important, because if I had made that x is less than 0, I would have been wanting to deal with this quadrant 3 instead. All right, so now that I have those two, this should be pretty straightforward, because r is just a 5, and then I can do sine, cosine, tangent, and then all the opposites, which we've done 100 times. So, okay. And The last type of question is what we need to practice more of right now. So, I just did one example earlier in the class. Let's say I gave you, oh, I don't know. Say I wanted the cosine of 1,260. And say you don't, pretend you don't have access to a calculator. Pretend, well, a scientific or a graphing calculator. You might have a 4-function calculator. So what am I going to do with 1260? I'm going to subtract 360 to find that coterminal angle. 180. So this is the same thing as the cosine of 180 degrees, which I know what that is. It's a quadrantal angle. So I will give you at least this, okay? So let's say you don't have the chart filled in yet. All you have is this, right? So cosine of 180. So 180, where's 180 degrees? Yes, it's this one, right? 100. This is 0. There's 90. There's 180. So I'm using these values, right? And cosine is x over r. So x over r would produce an answer of what? Negative 1. X over r. Negative 1 over positive 1. So my answer should just be a negative 1. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. What if I give you something like, oh, I don't know. Say I wanted, how about 3 sine 720?
Taking this on Monday might not be the best idea. Because I'm feeling very confident right now. But come Monday morning,
You're gonna rewatch this video.
I'm gonna be like,
You're gonna watch this video on halftime, during halftime.
4 a.m. on Saturday,
And if they win, I'm gonna be up to like 4
a.m.
celebrating.
Yeah,
I'm going to school.
I'm going to
I'm
UMass
going to
on Sunday,
so
I'll be happy and wasted.
I'm gonna be in a riot. I might be in a jail cell.
You're being recorded, so. Oh my god.
Come see Ted Pasco at Shepherd Hill.
All right, so say I had to do a problem like this. 3 times the sine of 720. Ladies, gentlemen, where do you think you begin?
Well, I'm gonna say subtract.
Right, I still want to find that coterminal angle. So if I take 720 and I subtract 360, oh, I just so happen to get 360. I could subtract 360 again and deal with 0. It doesn't matter. You can deal with 0 or 360 because they're the same. So whatever you want. This is the same thing as 3 times the sine of 0. So I just need to figure out what the sine of 0 is and multiply it by 3. Well, is it? I don't know. I don't remember. Let's look. We have this chart. 0 or 360, you're going to use these values. Sine is y over r. So it's 0 over 1. So the sine of 0 is 0. So 3 times 0 would just get me
0.
0. That's it. Okay? Does that make sense? Everybody's all right? Kind of? Okay. So let's shut this